The next day, Char barges into Haruto's room looking to play with him. The older brother doesn't match her excited energy as he wishes she would knock before entering. She happily acknowledges his complaints and hugs him. Since he saved her and their mother, she has been very clingy, but Haruto prefers this to when she disliked him. She gets inquisitive when she notices the screens floating above his table. Haruto explains that it's surveillance magic. He goes along with her assumption that it is ancient magic. He tries to end further questions by telling her that it is a lost magic with no surviving knowledge. She informs him that it's not all lost as there is some literature about it in the castle's library. Char offers to show him. The siblings make their way there and Haruto is in awe of the grandeur of the library. The guy didn't know such a place existed on the castle grounds. He watches as Char climbs up and down the various shelves picking books like a professional librarian. She presents him with texts that discuss ancient magic. From the books, he learns that the magic of old is non-elemental. Modern magic isn't on that level, so it is supplemented with the 4 elements to make it more digestible. Haruto speculates that his barrier sorcery might be related to ancient magic in some respects. Char points out that there are lots of theories about the magic of old, but she finds this one the most interesting. Haruto is surprised that she can read literature that is full of complex words. The girl reveals that she had help from their mother and Flay, so she would like him to read some for her too. He is more than happy to do so as he sees this as a big brother activity. The siblings read together and discover information about gods who can travel between different worlds. Another story reminds him of an anime he saw in his previous life. As an otaku, he complains about how he hasn't watched anime in so long. Char overhears him and wants to know more about anime. He can see that she is invested in listening to his full explanation of what anime is and how it is made. After hearing about it, she is happy to see Haruto getting excited about something and expresses her wish to watch it. Haruto thanks his mother for raising Char to be such a good girl. He promises his little sister that he will try his best to allow her to watch anime. 2 weeks later and he managed to get a modern Japanese internet connection. Luckily for him, his streaming subscription is still active. He makes a child account for Char and finally unveils it to her. She chooses an anime one would expect someone of her age to be attracted to. Seeing the pictures move and talk on the screen gets her excited. Haruto is glad to see her enjoying it. Char points out that she doesn't understand what is being said. He forgot that she doesn't understand Japanese, so the girl pleads with him to teach her. He's a little hesitant because learning a language is no easy task. However, she is still a child, so he's sure she will pick it up quickly. They commence their lessons, and she masters aspects of the language in 2 hours and can even write at an early grade level. This leaves Haruto dumbfounded. Another 2 weeks pass, and Char is fully engrossed in anime and even moved on to watching a Power Rangers type show. Haruto is interested to see if she makes sense of the cars and other things she sees. The girl just follows along with it, not giving it much thought. Over the 2 weeks, the girl has learned the rest of her Japanese from anime and has mastered the language. We all wish we could do that. The guy suspects that the girl is a genius, and if that is the case, he feels like he needs to start limiting her anime watching. But he is hesitant to do that, seeing how much fun his sister is having. She even strikes the same pose as the hero before moving on to the next episode, but Haruto tells her to hold it and informs her that he can't keep letting her binge watch a whole season at once. So he limits her to 3 hours of watch time a day, which crushes her. But he informs her that it's for her good as it is not healthy for kids. She tries to convince him that she's fine, but he sticks to his ruling and suggests they go down for dinner. Due to her binge watching, she dozes off and he asks if she's sleepy. Their father wonders what the siblings are up to since they have been spending so much time together recently. Char quickly covers and tells her parents that they have been learning ancient magic. Their mother is happy to see that and reminds Haruto to keep an eye on her so that she doesn't get carried away. After the dinner, Char follows her older brother hoping that he will allow her to watch some anime, but he informs her that he can't do that. After taking a bath, Haruto heads to bed, but he's surprised that Char has joined for a sleepover. Their mother is happy that the two are finally building a healthy sibling relationship. The following day, Gold heads out with a unit to put an end to the thieves that have been ravaging their lands. His family sees him off hoping that he comes back safe. Over the coming days, Char is in a sad mood as she worries about her father. Haruto picks up on this and assures her that their dad will be fine because the thieves this time around used to be commoners. The girl wonders what would move them to turn to such a profession. Her older brother explains that power struggles are breaking out in the kingdom. She wishes that there was a way to it so that everyone can live happily. He explains that although ideal, it is a far more difficult task than one anticipates. She doesn't believe that it would be difficult for her brother if he joins the fight, but Haruto looks at her with confusion. She feels like that is what his powers should be used for. He wonders what anime she got this concept from. She gives him the little sister's look as she pleads for him to act. Haruto can't disappoint his sister, so he agrees. She wants him to transform and join the fight. He knows that she is thinking of an anime character, so he plays up to it and uses his magic to transform into an adult with a sleek black suit wearing a helmet. She finds him to be so cool, but he sees it as something embarrassing. Char wants to follow him, but he tells her to stay in a distorted voice. This makes her sad, but he decides to strike a compromise and allows her to watch the events. Haruto heads out and can't believe he's playing superhero, but he's willing to bear with it to make his sister happy. He uses his magic to locate the thieves and blocks their escape with his barrier. He could leave them trapped till his father arrives, but he knows that Char wants to see some action, so he heads down to confront them. As soon as he lands, they demand to know who stands before them. Haruto strikes a pose and reveals to them that he's a hero of justice. He lifts the barrier so that the bandits can attack. As they charge at him, he proceeds to take out the guys in a manner that would be entertaining for his sister to watch. While the criminals lay there counting sheep, he wonders if he got a little carried away, but he's happy that he took them down in a PG manner. His father and his men arrive while he tries to figure out his next move. Gold assesses the situation and concludes that this doesn't look like the result of an internal battle, so he asks the only stranger standing if he's responsible for this. Haruto is stumped on what to say when his father introduces himself and asks for his name, but the guy can't come up with a good one. Gold questions if he was the one behind saving his wife and daughter and wants to know what his goal is. Haruto discloses to him that he's an enforcer of justice while striking a pose which further adds to his embarrassment. He quickly flies off before they ask any further questions. Haruto arrives home exhausted, but his sister is still hyped by how cool he was and wonders when he'll go out into the world again. The guy can't believe that she wants him to keep this up. With that expectation set, Haruto goes into battle multiple times until he became a household name with the epithet of the Black Knight. His sister is his #1 fan as she commends him on his latest good deed. For him, this marked the birth of his edgy alter ego. The day that he finally completes his clone comes, it can talk like him and use his mannerisms. Haruto has been researching the ancient magic book in the library for months. He uses this information to make his breakthroughs. With this, he can live his life as a shut-in while his clone fulfills his responsibility. Char wakes up to find 2 Harutos before her. The original asks his clone to fill in for him, but since they are similar, the clone is also lazy, so refuses. Their attention is drawn to the arrival of the Crown Prince Laius and his older sister Princess Marianne. The guy already begins to complain about how dusty the place is, and his sister scolds him for his rude remarks and reminds him that he was the one who insisted on tagging along with her. Gold interjects to welcome the siblings and thank them for making the long journey. Haruto wonders if they are his blood siblings since they are royalty. Laius realizes that Gold addressed him secondly and begins to get annoyed as he's the crown prince, so he should have been addressed first. Gold formally apologizes, and the princess informs her brother to apply his decorum as royalty and stop his pettiness. He turns to her and bluntly tells her to cut the big sister act as she will be used as a political tool and married off when she's older, so she should know her place. Haruto doesn't like his vibe and the prince notices him glaring at him. He walks over to the family stating that none of them know the first thing about manners. He confirms that Haruto is the level 2 that was adopted from an orphanage. Laius decides to start by personally teaching Haruto some manners by challenging him to a duel. Gold tries to de-escalate the situation, but the prince assures him that he will go easy. As the two face off, Haruto is frustrated that he got dragged into this. He uses his mana assessment skill to check his opponent's current level, which is a 9, and his maximum is 40. He remembers Char stating that the top sage in the world was at level 77. Gold has maxed his potential at level 32, and the princess is at level 14 with a potential of 33. Laius notices that he is looking away and tries to attack, but Haruto easily dodges. The prince doesn't want him to avoid as he wants to discipline him that way. Haruto plays along but puts a barrier around himself. The prince begins to attack him, and just to be in pain, he arrogantly asks Haruto to fight back if he thinks he can. The kid takes that as a cue and quickly recovers and knocks Laius down. Marianne gasps in shock. The prince tries to attack, but he's easily floored multiple times by Haruto's insane speed. The princess asks her uncle if Haruto really is a level 2 because he just used advanced self-augmenting magic to achieve that speed. His father is also confused and states that his son claims that he doesn't know, so he's just accepted things as they are. Laius gets angry and charges a fireball spell to shoot. Haruto uses his barrier magic to absorb the attack. This confuses the prince. He just continues to shoot more fireballs. Haruto absorbs them all and shows that he can return them at once. He releases it up in the air. The sight of it forces Laius to yield, and the princess apologizes for her brother's actions. Haruto doesn't take it as a big deal. He quickly excuses himself when she begins to ask if he's a level 2. That evening, he walks to his room surprised that the royal capital knows about this low level. He wonders if his birth parents are looking for him, but he dismisses that thought because they were the ones who discarded him. That brings the episode to an end.